Okay, I don't know how to disprove this, but that has to be wrong. That has to be wrong, right? So many things we can start with here, man. AP mastering, again, back with some bullshit. Back on his bullshit. Always on some bullshit. Start with putting your mouth in front of the mic. So like this. You want me to...
Hey, yo!
Okay, so we got this guy here, the Clipper AP mastering, the master scam god. No, not like that. Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? You don't want to watch this guy, but I like calling out the crap, bro. I like calling out his crap. What's happening to his hair? My hair or their hair? So clippers don't really fix your problems. This guy's loud and annoying. Me? Well, fuck you. Fuck you, pal. All right, well, I like calling this guy out on his bullshit. I feel like nobody's really calling out his bullshit.
Clipper plugins are probably the most stupid thing that you can buy in the world of audio. It might seem like...
ooh, I want to look at this after too. That is just annoying. Well, I agree.
Like paying $200 for an audiophile rock is more stupid, but it's really not, because the rock doesn't hurt your audio quality, and you might...
See, this is really stupid because, like... he's gonna say like clippers sound like shit, and it's like, well, a clipper's not supposed to sound amazing. It's supposed to be like, usually the way people use it is to get more headroom and without like messing the sound up too much. He has a point here, to be honest. Well, I do think there's probably not much of a difference between a lot of clippers, but I think he's wrong in a lot of things here. I've seen some of it. I haven't seen all of it.
I like the way that it looks. Clipper plugins, on the other hand, harm your audio, and buying one is always a mistake. Let's first understand exactly what...
Hold on. Before we continue on, drop some likes, guys. What are you doing? Drop a like. Drop a like on the YouTube.
Now, I don't normally do coding on this channel because that's boring, but a 5-year-old could understand this code, so let's just literally write out the code. If the sample is bigger than the threshold, then set the sample to the threshold.
Okay, I don't want to do the coding.
It's just $50. Speaking of buying plugins, consider buying my free open source compressor plugin. I hereby announce version 2. It currently costs...
What is his motive with this free plugin? Is it to get emails or something? Like, what is the motive with this? There's some sort of motive here. I really think it must be getting emails. That's not how clippers work. Okay, I'm not gonna call him out on that. I don't know for sure, but...
$0.
Well, yeah, to be fair, if you're buying more than one clipper plugin, like you kind of are a fucking idiot. I mean, I've been using the knock clipper plugin, and that's it. That's all I don't plan on buying another clipper plugin, and that's like my go-to one. So
it's got new features, a new interface, fresh code, better performance, so grab it now while stocks last. For everyone who already grabbed the first version of this plugin, don't email me again.
What's with this background music, bro? It's like some fucking I'm in the jungle type shit.
You already have the link. Just go to the email you got and click on the same link, and the version 2 is in the same link. For everyone who doesn't...
Dude, like 45 seconds of this have just been shilling this plugin.
I have the link. Just go to my website, apmastering.com, and you can find the instructions on there how to download it. So back to the video. Why is clipping bad? One reason is it causes a huge amount of aliasing.
Yeah, thanks for my ears, pal. Appreciate that.
Unfortunately, some plugins really are just that under the hood, and if you bought such a plugin, unfortunately you got ripped off. However, we can improve this a bit by
Bro, oh god, man. Stop with the high frequency test tones, man. Fuck.
Using oversized.
Like this guy just, are you trying to make yourself just completely unlikable in every possible way?
Sampling to reduce the aliasing.
Okay, so anyways, in my new video, I'm going to be promoting this free compressor just to get an email out of you. Also, here's a bunch of high frequency sounds being clipped, by the way. Enjoy.
Let's give that a go.
What is the goddamn point here? Am I an idiot? I must be an idiot. What the fuck? Stop it. Stop it.
Electronic music, you could already do everything in the box, and if you had external hardware, you could record it into your computer and mix it all in your computer. So you didn't need to have any DAT machines or anything like that. That was old technology back then, but they were still popular on the second-hand market. Why? Well, producers with good ears at the time figured out that bouncing their tracks through a DAT machine could get hotter levels and sound better than just doing the digital.
Nobody gonna mention the Blazer? Honestly, I'm too poor to know what what the fuck a blazer is, and I live in Hawaii. I don't know, like, it looks funny to me. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at, though.
Clipping by pushing the master fader on their DAW. Why is that? It's because those secondhand DAT machines that were in demand had really good technology built into them so that they would overload gracefully. And one of the most important things there was oversampling.
No, I don't know what the fuck a blazer is, bro. You're lucky I'm wearing clothes at all.
What?
Oh, is it a turtleneck? Yeah, I mean, I thought that was I don't know, it's a weird combination for sure.
So that's why there was all this demand for secondhand DAT machines even long after they became technically redundant with computers replacing them. But there's still two main problems with this approach. The first one is that oversampling is computationally costly, meaning it uses a lot of CPU power. This is less of a problem on modern computers, but there's a second more important problem, and that's the fact that clipping just doesn't sound that great in the first place.
Okay, first of all, I don't think people clip for the sound usually. I think generally people clip because it makes headroom, right? And softer, like, the point is to make headroom, and you can do it subtly and make headroom without affecting the sound very much, right? Obviously, if you do it a lot, the sound is going to be more obvious. So I don't think people do it for the sound. I mean, maybe some people clip a little bit for the sound, but I generally think it's not because of the sound.
So how can we further improve this to get a better sound? Well, one approach is to upgrade our math. We can go from...
I mean, it depends, obviously, but I think generally people don't clip for the sound. I don't know. I mean, I guess sometimes it can sound good. I could see that. It makes things louder. It makes things louder.
Preschool to elementary school level. An arctangent causes gentle distortion. A hyperbolic tangent is a bit more forceful. Using logarithms can also be interesting, and using square root is a more forceful version of that. And using a sine function will result in louder parts of the wave folding back on itself, which is used a lot in the audio industry. Or if you want to do something super weird, you could mess with some quadratic polynomial functions, whatever math you want to throw at it to get really weird tones.
I do agree this guy's a tool, but I want to call out the tool, okay?
That's not even getting started on more advanced stuff like hysteresis. But if you're interested in that kind of math, you can just download the spreadsheet that I made for this video in the description down below. So although these are all
I'm good on the spreadsheet.
Potential upgrades to our original clipping code, there's a problem. None of this is clipping. People get really confused with this topic. They think, where does soft clipping start and hard clipping end? And what's the difference between clipping and saturation? Or what is saturation? And what are the different types of distortion? What is mojo and vibe and drive and overdrive? And all of these words. What does all of this mean? The conspiratorial truth is, distortion is the marketing hype engine of the audio industry, responsible for more mysticism and bullshit than any other type of signal processing. Part of the scam is that the terminology is deliberately obfuscated to confuse you, to make you think you need 20 different types of plugins rather than just one plugin that...
Bro, like, I feel like for everything for this guy is some sort of deep... Like, he's got like the... Okay, this guy has like the QAnon conspiracy theory of plugins. Oh, they're conspiring together to try to get you to buy the new plugins. You really think they're conspiring together to get you to buy the new plugins? You think it's that deep?
Does all of the classic types of distortion. So let's demystify all of this bullshit right now. We can sort all of the fundamental audio effects into a quadrant. Linear, non-linear, static, time-based. Time-based means stuff like reverb, as their effects are achieved predominantly through time, and contrary to what you might think, these effects are actually all technically...
Yeah, it's all a conspiracy, guys. Don't buy their plugins, but get my free plugin and make sure you give me an email. I'm gonna need that email to get my free plugin, which is much better.
Linear processes. Clean gain and EQ are also, technically speaking, linear processes. Despite the fact that EQ also has a time domain consideration, it's considered a static effect. Distortion is non-linear and static, as it typically has no time-based aspect. A compressor also works in a non-linear way, reducing the level when the threshold is exceeded, but the most important feature is time, the attack and release knobs. But if you turn both the attack and release knobs to maximum speed, what happens? You start to hear distortion.
That meme of a crowd face palming every time he says something.
That's because if you remove the time aspect of a compressor by making the attack and release 0, you've now got a distortion unit. In the most extreme case, it becomes a clipper. So where does tape, compression, transformer, saturation, drive, clipping, fuzz, analog, warmth, tube, coloration, mojo, and all of the rest of these terms fit into our quadrant? Well, sorry to disappoint you, but they all fit in the same place because they're all distortion. They all just mean distortion. So here's a list of some of the distortion related words which people chuck around in the audio industry, and I've defined all of them. Notice how all of them mean distortion. Yes, there are different types of distortion, but there's not really any need to use a bunch of different words.
I want to hear this guy's thoughts on like P. Diddy and QAnon. That's why I'm really interested to hear. Hopefully we get some of that. You know, if he was Busyworks Beats, he'd be giving us that information in this video.
Other than the word distortion. And if we want to be really specific about the transfer function, we can talk about stuff like hyperbolic tangents and the like. But the marketing powers of the audio industry don't like to be specific. They like to keep it vague to obfuscate all of the...
Get him on a call. Yeah, I would get him on a call and then just ask about like conspiracy theories and shit. I'm not even gonna talk about like plugins at all.
Terms to confuse you into buying more plugins. So now we understand the terms at play. We can see the clipping is a specific member of the set distortion, and it's specifically distortion which uses a clamping function. So we can define it as just that. Distortion caused by a clamp function. Of course, in the analog domain, we don't write code, we have electronic components, and we can use Zener diodes to clip the voltage in a similar...
This guy's definitely been to a few freak offs in his day, you know what I'm saying?
Clamp function. Because we have no sampling frequency in the analog domain, we also have no aliasing. So right from the word go, analog clipping distortion sounds better than digital. Some people like to use the term...
Yeah, I feel like he's purposely missing the point. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I would agree that most, if not all, clipper plugins are the same, but I don't think all this information it's kind of pointless.
Soft clipping for certain analog components, for example FETs, but I think this is technically inaccurate. It's more accurate just to call this saturation. So once we actually just understand the definition of clipper, it's not confusing at all. If something's a clamp function, then it's a clipper, and we shouldn't use it because it doesn't sound good and causes aliasing, and we certainly shouldn't pay any money for it. And if it isn't just a clamping function, then it's not a clipper. And something that calls itself a clipper, which isn't a clamping function, is just mislabeled. They've just called it the wrong thing. After having said that, probably...
You spoke briefly about linearity curves, that's where the plugins differ, yeah.
The first thing that people want to type in the comments is, that's just hard clipping. What about soft clipping? There's no such thing as soft clipping. It's
okay, that's gotta be bullshit, right?
just more marketed propaganda to confuse you, to get you to buy more plugins.
Okay, I don't know how to disprove this, but that has to be wrong. That has to be wrong, right?
Either it's a clipper and it's a clamp function, or is not a clipper, is not using clamp function, and then it's just some other type of distortion. So soft clipping, whatever that is just some other type of distortion if it's not using a clamp. If it's not a clamp, what is it? Let's say it's using a hyperbolic tangent. Well, then it's a tan H distortion, not a clipper. So there's no such...
I mean, yeah, technically, right, distortion does do the same thing as clipping, but I don't know. It's just getting caught up on the specific words. I don't know, it's kind of stupid.
Thing as soft clipping, and anything that calls itself a soft clipper is simply incorrectly named. This is why, in my opinion, clipper plugins are a scam. If it's a soft clipper, then it's just incorrectly named. If it's a hard clipper, then it's going to cause aliasing and sound bad. And even if you have oversampling enabled, that are better sound.
I wouldn't say hard sampling in general sounds bad, though. I mean, sometimes you want to do that to your drums, right?
Types of distortion available to you. And if you paid for that, then you got scammed for that 1 or 2 lines of code. Unfortunately, there's some really good distortion plugins out there, which...
I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I've heard differences in a few clippers I've tried. Like, I definitely prefer the not clipper over other clippers I've tried. I don't know, though.
Mislabel themselves as being clippers, and that's just doing themselves a disservice. And I would much prefer them call themselves what they are, distortion plugins. If you like hands-on practical stuff, check out this video on vocal recording. If you
R2R scam me? How could they? How could they scam me? How could R2R scam me? How? If you want to support the stream, guys, consider donating. There's a donation link in the description, or super chatting, channel memberships, Twitch subs, etc. Great way to support the channel. Quickest shill in the West here.